Alright, today we're going to be working on sanding this car. And this is actually going to take quite a few days. So, probably going to split this up into little parts that make sense. So, we're just going to start with what we can. So, I got some stuff. I got stuff to kind of make a little barrier. So, you probably noticed the clear coat is basically peeling off right here. Here's a chunk. So, I'm going to take care of that. So because this has clear coat, that's how you know this was repainted. Because I believe these were the single stage paint, and it wasn't till like 81 or 82 when they introduced the two stage with the clear coat in it. Something like that. So I don't really plan on taking this all the way down to the fiberglass. I think for what I'm using this car for, it is more than acceptable just to sand it down till it's smooth. The body on this car is really straight. The bumpers are still there. These are still the urethane bumpers, so they survived. This is really the only body damage part. A little crack in the fender. It's actually not attached anymore, just barely. So I'm gonna attempt to fix this myself. So just sand it down, put some new glass on it, and then fill it in and all that. Oh, here's another spot down here. Alright, so 2 spots. I'm gonna do another walkthrough, and I'll show you if there's anything else like this, but these are the only ones I've noticed. And it looks like maybe someone at some point was starting to sand it to recover it, or maybe there was a dent here and they filled this in and this is primer. I'm not sure. It's wiping off on my fingers, but it's also really dirty. I haven't washed this car at all. But this kind of white stuff is everywhere. On the bumper too. This just looks like sun damage. So maybe that's all it is. Got it up here too. I didn't really want to have to do the door jambs, but the paint's pretty bad here. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about whether I'll do this or not. I know it would make it look a whole lot better. Just there's a lot that needs to happen in order to do all that. Maybe though, I mean, you just mask up the new carpet areas and then you should be good. Got it in the garage, got my setup, got a tarp down, a little plastic tarp here to protect all my stuff. And then I don't need to worry about that side because I'm far enough away. Thinking I'm going to wet the ground a little bit to catch any of that dust that falls off. Gave it its first little bath. Totally should have done that on the driveway when I had it on the driveway. Oh well. So this kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like, but this color is really distorted from the sun. But honestly, like if I was on a real strict budget, if I wet sanded it, got rid of the peeling clear coat, and then buff and polish the paint, this is kind of what it would look like. And I mean, really, it wouldn't be half bad. It's not great. This car definitely deserves a real paint job, but I don't know. Alright, let's start sanding. I'm gonna focus on the chipping clear coat first. So, by no means am I a professional. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing. I know a little bit, but not a pro. So I'm just going to kind of do the easy stuff. Just peel off what I can. It's going to scratch the paint, but this needs to be sanded anyway, so. I'm just peeling it off. I was using my fingernails, but it started hurting, so I got a towel. I think I'm going to switch to a razor blade. That should work. I've actually heard of people stripping these cars all the way down to the fiberglass with like a heat gun and a razor blade. Let me know if any of you have actually done that. That's pretty interesting. I'm pretty nervous to try that. I wouldn't want to scratch it and then just cause myself more work in the long run, you know? Alright, quick walk around. So you saw I just used the razor blade. I scraped off the big chunks of the peel and clear coat. So I tried my best not to scrape or like dig into the fiberglass at all. Some spots I did, some spots I messed up and scratched a little where I didn't want to. But I got to sand over it anyway, so not too worried about that. Started doing the front fender, then I was like, wait, I don't want to do that all yet. I kind of want to focus on just the rear half, from rear fenders to the door, or quarter panel to the door. Ignore the bumper for now. Do this hatch area / quarter panel door. So what I was just doing right now, you can see I've started sanding. I was just trying to figure out what sort of method I'm going to be using to sand. So I got this electric 5-inch sander. It's really not great, but it helps speed up the process. So all the spots where there's clear coat left, where it's not peeling, so I can't keep getting at it with a razor blade, otherwise it's going to take forever, or I'm going to have to bring out the heat gun or something like that. I use the electric sander to do that, so it makes it all white like this, and then I go over it with, I got 150, so I got 120 on the electric sander, and then 150 by hand, and I block it by hand, and then it starts feeling nice and smooth. If you're not careful with the electric sander, you can very easily make a big groove into the paint, into the fiberglass. So you gotta be careful. It helps speed up the process, but it has its cons. So if you can see right here, we have fiberglass, primer, paint, and then clear coat. So whenever this car was last repainted, they stripped it all the way down to fiberglass. So actually, that's not fiberglass, that's the sealer for the fiberglass. If I saw bare fiberglass, then I'd be in trouble, because then I'd have to seal it and all that. But yeah, so last time this was repainted, they stripped it all the way down to fiberglass, and I believe it. I mean, this car was well kept, well cared for the time that the previous owner had it. So I still got to do stuff like remove the locked cylinders, door handles, mirrors, little badges. I'm going to focus on that probably the next video. That's when I'll take it apart. For now, I'm just going to sand the big areas and for the rear half and get that taken care of now. And for those of you who think that I should have just used the chemical and strip it down to fiberglass and remove the paint that way, yeah, that's another way. This is just the way I am choosing to do it. This car is not going to be that show car quality. These Corvettes really aren't worth that much money. It's not worth it, especially the condition I have in it and all the other stuff I have to do to it. It's not worth spending all that extra money making this a show quality paint. But I'm going to do this as well as I can, and you're going to come along for the ride and see what I can make out of this. Also, with the razor blade, if you're kind of trying to look away and really not liking me for doing that, when I drop this off, I'm not painting it myself. I'm just prepping it for someone to paint. So when I drop it off to be painted, I'm going to give them the ability to go over it, and if they think I did a terrible job, fine. They can redo it, I'll pay for it, whatever. I just wanted to give an attempt. And that's all I really want to do. Just give my best and then send it off to someone who actually knows what they're doing, because I don't have the ability or the space to paint this myself. Alright, this is where I'm stopping tonight. So, got most of the door done. All the spots where the clear coat was feeling is all done. Looks really ugly, but it's pretty smooth. So that was just going over with 120 and a little bit of 150 here and there. So next step is to do the rest of the door. I'm going to do in 220. So that'll be done tomorrow. Got a little spot here that needs to be filled. Looks like it was maybe filled in the past, but gotta fill that again. And then I did a little bit of the edge of the fender. But yeah, sanding takes a while, so new day. Let's get to sanding. Here we are, end of day 3. Yeah, day 3. But actually, this was the first full day I've had available to work. So, as you can see, we have the whole section of this quarter panel where the clear coat was peeling. That's all good. I even took the rear marker light out. Got the whole little edge of the quarter panel. That was a pain because I had to do that by hand. And then got this whole door all good except for the spots around the mirror. I haven't done that because I don't have the mirror off. I'll wait till I take the mirror off to go further with that. This is what it looks like. Now it has camo. So when you see stuff like this, this is some sort of filler. This is the bottom. This is not the fiberglass. This is the layer, whatever layer is above the fiberglass primer, I guess. I don't know. So we have this layer, we have a white layer, color layer, and then clear coat. We got all the clear coat layer off. Basically, even though it looks ugly, it's pretty smooth. You can't really feel any high or low spots, but I'm gonna go over this with a finer grit, and then I'm gonna go over it with another final grit until I get up to maybe 300 or 400 grit. Then I'm gonna spray a light coat of primer, or basically like a guide coat, so when I sand over it I'll be able to tell if I have highs or low spots, because by hand these don't feel like high or low spots, they feel the same, but using a guide coat like that will help me. Also got to figure out how to take that out. Actually, I've taken that out on the C3 Corvette. It's not fun. It looks a whole lot harder to get to on this door panel, like through there on this one, so that's not going to be fun. And going along, I've found a few spots that need to be touched up. The little dimple here, there's a couple dimples on the corner of the door, especially the driver's side door. I kind of need to put a thin layer of body filler and just smooth it out because it's a little rough. Actually, this one feels nice. There's just a few little spots like that. Yeah, so we got this side all done. Still got to finish up the other side. I'll show you it real quick. Basically, not much has happened over here. So I'm going to work on that, but I think that's going to be it for this video. This will just kind of let you guys know, hey, I'm starting the sanding now, and this is where we're at. So let me know any suggestions you have for me. Basically right now I've just been using 120 grit and 80 grit. So 80 grit first and then 120 grit. And I'm going to just increment up from there. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.